up, y'all? It's your girl Becca, but never Becky, aka Beck the Brat, hostess of the Ghetto podcast, and welcome back. Y'all probably like, girl, where you been? Girl, I don't know. I ain't gonna talk about it, but we gonna do it anyway. Yeah, I took a hiatus. Life got a little too real. Life got a little too hard. Mind you, it was an accident. I was not supposed to be going that long. But, my mental health, trash. Single motherhood, ghetto. Being an adult in your 20s, ghetto. It was just too much going on. It was, like I said, life got a little too real. Okay, things got a little too hard. And I had to take a step back to prioritize my mental health, to make sure that I was bringing you guys the most real, authentic, and capable version of myself. And I was not able to do that at the time. Like I said, it wasn't supposed to be that long, but I'm not gonna lie, I could not get myself together. Like, my mental health, girl, it got a little scary there for a second. I wasn't about to off myself or nothing, but it was a little dark. But like I said, we're back. This isn't really gonna be like a full-blown podcast episode. More like a just explaining where I've been, what I've been going through, and what's next for the GG pod. That's kind of why we're like in a laid back setting. I'm literally just sitting on my couch, recording off of my phone. So I may look a little weird. It looked weird to me. I don't know if it looked weird to y'all. But yeah, so this is kind of like a laid back chill episode where I'm just being real raw, vulnerable, open, honest with you guys like I usually am. But kind of like more like laid back. Like, let's just, we homegirls. Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know where to start. Last y'all saw me was my 22, last y'all saw me in a podcast episode was the 22 things I've learned in 22 years episode that I posted for my 22nd birthday, which is funny because that's where things just went downhill. Yeah, after that, my daughter turned 1. My baby girl, she is 1 year old. Well, now she's, don't mind my dryer, my bad. Now she's 1.5. She'll be 2 in a couple months. She is alive and well, thank God. She's a big ball of energy. She's definitely coming more into her personality. She is a lot, and I mean that in the best way possible. She thinks she's a boy. She's rough, which makes sense because my nieces and nephews are rough, but she is always somewhere laughing, always somewhere jumping, giggling, singing, dancing. She is my whole heart. So yeah, my daughter turned 1. I don't really know what else. Like, I don't know. I low-key just want to get into all the bad stuff, or not bad, but like get to the goods. Let's start with my daughter. For those of you who don't know, which is a lot of you don't really know this, but my daughter has a lot of health issues due to some complications I had while I was pregnant. My placenta was not working properly, and so she was not growing properly like she should have been, and she wasn't getting all the necessary nutrients and the things that she was supposed to be getting from the placenta. And unfortunately, the doctors did not catch it until it was a little too late. So I actually had to give birth early. I had to be induced for her safety. And so as a result of the complications that I had while I was pregnant, her immune system is not as strong as it should be, so she's more prone to getting sick. she's more prone to having some health complications. She's not like overly sick. She's not like the most down bad baby in the world. If you were to look at her, you would never know that anything is wrong. But she does have a couple concerns, some of which have been showing their faces a lot more within the last couple months as she gets older. That's one of the things that I've been dealing with, and one of the reasons why I took a step back so that I could focus on her and helping her through these things, because she does know what's going on, number one, and number two, it's a lot, especially as a single mother, and having to go, like, I have my village, but parent-wise, I am the only parent involved, so having to deal with that is a lot to handle by myself. So she's just been going through it. At one point they were like, she's too young to have asthma. 6 months later, oh yeah, girl, she got asthma. What? She's had some problems with her ears. She may or may not be deaf in her right ear. We're still kind of trying to figure that out. Still working with her doctors and her specialist on that one, but God knows all things. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I'm not worried. I'm a mother. I'm a woman. So naturally I am thoroughly concerned. I have faith, but I'm still human at the end of the day. So sometimes it gets a little scary, especially when it comes to my child. But like I said, those are just some of the things that she has going on. But I'm trying to have faith. I'm trying to trust in God. I'm trying to look on the bright side of things. Like I said, if you were to look at her, you would never know that anything's wrong. She looks like and acts like any other normal child her age. That is, it's just her world, and we just living in it. Okay. So yeah, there's that. While we are on the topic of health, I've also been dealing with some health concerns of my own, which is crazy to say considering I'm only 22. And I'm not on my deathbed or nothing of that nature. But I have always been like, I've never really had any issues health-wise. Like, even as a kid, like, I rarely got sick. But for those of you who don't know, I have endometriosis, which is kind of hard to explain. You're more than welcome to go look it up, but it is a condition that basically affects my uterus. And so I have to have surgery in March because of the things that I have going on concerning that, and it is scary. It is very, 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 very scary. And like I said, my health is not necessarily something that I have ever had to struggle or deal with before. So for all of it to kind of be happening at once, it was kind of like 1 minute, like, oh, I brought like a minor concern to the doctor. Some of my symptoms of endometriosis have been bothering me a lot more lately, and I brought it up to my doctor. And 1 minute it was just like, but I was just like, oh yeah, it could be nothing. Like, you know, I've been dealing with this for years. I'm kind of used to it at this point. And the next minute it was like, yeah, girl, we're gonna cut you open. What? Huh? So it's just a lot. It is a lot to handle, a lot to deal with, especially considering the fact that to a degree I am going through this by myself. I don't know many people who have endometriosis, let alone to the extent of having to have surgery. So it's just a lot. It is a lot. It is scary. I have only ever had surgery one time, and that is when I had to give birth. I had a C-section, an emergency C-section, and everything happened so fast, and I was so out of it that I didn't even really process the fact that I was being cut open. Okay, so this is different, and it is scary, and it is another one of those things where I'm just trying to trust God. I'm just trying to have faith, but I'm still human. So I still have my concerns. I still have my doubts. I still have my fears. And it is just a lot to handle at one time. Moving on. What's next? What else have I been dealing with? Just being a girl in my 20s, it's a lot. It is overwhelming sometimes. A lot of times I feel like I'm behind. A lot of times I feel like I am too far ahead, if that makes sense, compared to my peers and my friends. Because most of my friends don't have kids, and because I not only have a child, but I am a single parent. So, my life looks a lot differently than some of my friends. And so sometimes I feel like left out, not intentionally. I love my friends, so no shade to them. But like a lot of times, like I find myself feeling left out because, I can't do certain things. I can't go certain places. So I kind of feel like, my life looks so differently and is so far ahead compared to some of my friends. It's like, well, dang, I feel like I'm getting left behind. And then the whole I feel like I am behind part is, as a little girl, in my head, my life looked a lot differently than what it looks like now. And so between that and then social media, like seeing all these influencers that I follow, and even some people that I know that are, the same age or maybe a little bit older, that have things that I don't have, or are doing things that I haven't done, going places that I haven't been, it can be discouraging sometimes, especially when I am trying my best. I put my best foot forward. I try to put my best foot forward in everything that I do. And so it's just a lot. It's a lot on your mental health, especially when you don't always have that support system. Not saying that I don't, because I do have a support system and I do have a village, but it can be lonely sometimes. I know I keep talking about being a single parent, but it's my life. Literally, being a single parent can be lonely, and being a girl in your 20s can be lonely. And that's something that I have been struggling with the last couple months because, like I said, it's just a lot. Especially when I don't have, the best relationship in the world with my family. And I don't get, I have a village, but I don't get a lot of help with Naomi, my daughter. So it's a lot. It can be a lot on your mental health. It is a lot on my mental health. It's a lot to handle. It's a lot to juggle at one time. And it is a lot. So there's that. What does my relationship with God look like right now? Let me back up. Let me be like so honest with y'all, which I always am. But I want to tell y'all something that I did not plan on telling y'all. My relationship with God right now is very strained. It's very one-sided. God is pulling on me, but I have not been pulling back because of everything that I've been dealing with. It started with me getting distracted by life. So it wasn't like I just fell off from God. More like everything was happening around me, and I didn't do my part. I didn't do my upkeep. I didn't, I was going to church, but when I felt like it. I was reading my Bible, but when I felt like it, more like the verse of the day. I was praying, but not every day. And then when life started getting real, when life started getting a little too hard, when I start feeling those feelings of loneliness, I I did find myself being angry with God. And that's not something that has happened to me before. I've never been angry at God. Like, I've been angry about some things that He had allowed to happen, or, some things that didn't happen the way that I wanted to because it wasn't His will or whatever. But I've never been angry at God. And I am. Part of me still is, but I'm ready to get back where I was with Him because I don't want to be angry with God anymore. Because it was so bad. I was in a space where I was choosing to be angry. I was literally saying, like, I would be talking to my friends and it was, yeah, I'm angry with God and I don't care. I'm not gonna do nothing about it. I don't want to go to church and you're not gonna make me. I'm not praying, because for what? That was my mindset. And when I say that was my mindset, I mean like all of 2 weeks ago. Like, this is recent as a result of something very emotional that I dealt with. And before I tell you what that is, let me give y'all some background. Anybody who knows me, I'm a certified man hater. Men are trash, they're all liars, and they suck. Okay? That's my mindset. It's a joke, but it's not. Like, I'm a feminist through and through. So I believe in equal women's rights, this, that, and the third. I'm saying all this to say I done fell in love with a man. Oh my God! The Ghetto. Oh my God. I know. Like, what? Me? Full blown in love? Full blown, like, want to marry this man? And a man of God? Please. This is embarrassing. No, but seriously. So I do have a boyfriend. I did fall in love. Shout out to my boo. And yeah. What am I bringing this up for? I'm sorry, this is gonna take me a second. This is really hard to talk about, and I was not planning on talking about this. So yeah. I have a boyfriend. And my boyfriend and I, I'm also a little hesitant because I don't want to be judged. Because, first of all, let me put this disclaimer out there. I never claimed to be perfect. I never claimed to not make mistakes. That is literally part of what my podcast is about. It's about being a girl in your 20s who is living life, trying to figure out the relationship with God, trying to figure out life, who still makes mistakes, who is trying to be Christ-like while still being real, living real life, having real life experiences, failing sometimes, falling short of the glory, sinning sometimes, not on purpose, but I'm just living life. So yeah. Don't come in my comments judging me. And don't say nothing sideways because I got a mouth like Peter. So anyways, yeah. Fell in love. Me and my boyfriend ended up getting pregnant. Mind you, I still don't know how, because I was on birth control. I had the implant in my arm. And I also, as I mentioned earlier, had endometriosis. So it is a little bit harder for me to conceive when I was pregnant with my daughter. I was automatically high risk because I had endometriosis. So it's harder for me to conceive. It's harder for me to carry while I was pregnant with my daughter. I had a lot of complications. And I was always in pain, always uncomfortable. I struggled bad. So I'm not really sure how I got pregnant on birth control and while having endometriosis. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, my boyfriend and I got pregnant. And unfortunately, that did not work out. I ended up having an ectopic pregnancy, which basically means that the baby was outside of the uterus, somewhere it had no business being. So that is very dangerous. You can die from that. And I was not able to carry out said pregnancy. This happened recently. And I was not planning on talking about it, but maybe this will help somebody. God is leading me to, my mantra is being real, raw, honest, vulnerable, open with you guys. So, that was a lot. I fell into a deep depression that I am still working on getting out of. I'm still healing from that. I'm still dealing with some emotions from that. One of them being me being angry with God because I don't understand why. And I'm one of those, like, I was raised, you don't question God. Like, you don't ask God why. But I think that is the first time where I've ever genuinely asked God why. Like, for what? Because I didn't understand. I still don't understand. My feelings were hurts. They still are hurts. My boyfriend and I are still working together to heal from that, to process that, and to move on from it. It's not something that I regret. I am a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. This may have been what needed to happen to bring me back to God, even though, for a while I was angry with him about it. It may have been what needed to push me to get back where I need to be. And so that's another thing that I've been dealing with. That's another reason why my break from the podcast kind of extended, because I swear, right when I was supposed to be, like, in my head, I was working on some projects for the podcast, some content ideas, some posts and stuff. That's when all that went down, and I was like, I'm good. I'm cool. I don't want to talk to nobody. Like, I was going to church. I started answering phone calls. I started talking to people. It was bad. It was bad. And I'm still healing. I'm still working on getting myself together from that. Sorry, y'all. This is really hard to talk about. Yeah. I got a lot going on. And, I'm learning that anybody who knows me, you have heard me say that I am an independent Black woman. And sometimes that mindset can be a little toxic, and harmful to myself, because I'll be so independent Black woman that I won't lean on the people and the resources around me, which is why I find myself in these dark spaces, and I find myself feeling feelings of loneliness, and I find myself pulling away from God, because it's like when I start going through it for real, like, he's not who I go to. Unfortunately, I'm still learning how to do that. I'm still growing. And but because, like I said, I have that super independent Black woman mindset, a lot of times, like, I won't forget about God, but he won't be my first resource. I'll try and solve it myself. That's a problem. Again, that's how I got here in the first place. I started worrying too much. I started not having enough faith. That's something that I have always struggled with. I always have faith for everybody else but myself. I've always been like that. I've always just like I'm an optimist for everybody else but myself. Like when it comes to me, I'm just like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. But somebody else, like, girl, please, you got faith, girl. You need to have faith in yourself. Where am I going with this? That's where I've been for the last couple months. That's what I've been dealing with. That is what has me going through it. What's next? I would like to come back with a full force. And when I mean a full force, I mean episodes, content, posters, flyers, events, because this is genuinely what I love to do. This is the ministry that God has provided me, and there was not a day that went by during my hiatus that I did not think about the GG Pod, because I know how much it means to me. I know the work that I put in. I know the desire that God gave me. I know the purpose and the calling and the ministry and the passion that He gave me. I have always, always, always wanted to have a podcast. I remember being in my room, 9 years old. I'm gonna do a podcast one day. I'm gonna be a podcaster, this, that, and the third. And like nobody believes me because this was one of those dreams that I had. Not like literal dreams, but like, you ever like really want to do something, but you never tell nobody about it because you don't think it's obtainable. You don't think that, like, you're just like, it's unrealistic. Like, yeah, I want to be a famous singer one day, but it'll never happen. Having a podcast, having a platform, being able to share my voice with people was one of those things for me. It was a thing that seemed unattainable. And the fact that I was able, not even me, the fact that God was able to make that happen for me, the fact that God had placed that desire for my heart, on my heart, that drive, the resources, the people around me to be able to push me to do that. I want to get back into it. I want to keep chasing my dream because I know that this is not it. I know that the GG Pod is just not going to be some little YouTube channel. No. I'm going to have a talk show one day. Like, please. The way God has ideas and fantasies and motivations and different things, different ideas flowing in my head on the daily. Like, there are 2 projects that I want to release in this year alone. There are 2 events that I wanted to do last year. Actually, there are multiple events that I wanted to do last year, but there are 2 that I specifically want to do this year. This year alone. Like, the way God has my creativity flowing, and when it comes to this podcast and this platform that I'm trying to build for Him, I know that this is not it. I know that this is something that I'm supposed to jump back into. I know that this is my ministry. I know that, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's something that I definitely want to come back full throttle, come back full force. And I appreciate those who have stuck with me. I appreciate those who have reached out. I appreciate those who have been on the lookout and have supported me, whether it's in person, behind closed doors, you name it. I appreciate you. I love you the mostest. So yeah. I say all that saying, your girl is back. The GG Pod is back. I appreciate you. I love you. And y'all know I don't never know how to wrap these episodes up. I'm still working on it. But yeah. Be on the lookout for more from me, from the GG Pod, more episodes, more guests, more content, more TikToks. More, just more. Just more, just more, just more. Yeah. Leave me a comment down below, I guess. Like, subscribe, whatever they be saying in the YouTube videos. And yeah. I'll see y'all later.